All right, what is up, ladies and gentlemen? We are back for week number 3 of Backyard Bookies. Scott, it hasn't been a good start for the season to us. It hasn't been a terrible start, but we're doing things that I didn't even think was possible here. We're pushing on money line games in football. Like, who the hell even thinks about this stuff? We can't hit a lock. It's been tough for us.
Yeah, last year we hit a lot of locks. We are now 0-4 on our locks. Not really locks if you can't hit any of them. So it's been a tough one so far. I think I think you pushed. I think what you're like 2-2-1 last week, and I was 2-3 once
No,
again.
you were
Not
2-2-1. You pushed your upset.
was I?
Yeah, they
I
gave you a
did. That's
push
right.
on
That's right.
Houston. They gave you a push because nobody won. Everybody lost.
I mean, those two almost ties, 20-20 games. I don't know what was going on week 1 in the NFL, man. It was a crazy week, and I'm glad we have 17 more weeks of all this craziness. Also, a great game tonight too with the Chargers and Chiefs
Herbie
on
today.
Amazon Prime. Like, are you kidding me? I have to go to Amazon Prime to watch this game, but
And next year,
anyway,
all the games are going to be on Apple TV. So, just
yeah,
heads up.
yeah. I've done well outside of our 5 games a week, but the ones that I impulsively just put money on and don't think about I've been doing well, but the ones apparently that look over all the stats and the spreads and all the tendencies, everything like that, we just haven't done well. So I guess we need to pick it up. I think we will though. I think I got
We
some good
need
picks
to.
this week.
But we'll recap last week for everybody. All right, so you missed under 53.5 with your Chiefs Cardinals game. The Chiefs almost hit the over by themselves. Little undersold Patrick Mahomes there.
Yeah, Patrick Mahomes did his thing. He doesn't need Tyreek Hill, so
Good
I guess we'll see against the Chargers tonight. But
good at football. But under 40, Iowa State, that was easy. Gotta love Iowa losing a 10-7 game at home. Hilarious. You hit your $60 bet as well. You hit BYU -3 against Baylor. That game was in overtime. That was a sweater. That game could have went either way. But the Mormons showed up. Somehow you managed to push an upset, your moneyline Texans, with a tie in the National Football League.
I was feeling so good about that one too. Our Texans were looking good, and then
they were up 20-3, I think. I almost text you, but I said if I text him, he's gonna get so mad.
Yeah, you don't text me during the game. Text me after the game. I had real money on that one, so
it was so comical. And then Oklahoma, your lock, missed for you. They won by 30. You needed 33.5. That's just real unfortunate. Their offense.
And they also had I think they also had the ball with like 7 minutes left in the game. I thought they could maybe drive and get a touchdown, but I think they were just looking to kill the clock and head back to the locker room. So unfortunate there, but what are you gonna do? They scored a bunch of points, just wasn't enough to cover it.
Yeah, and like you said, the offense could have maybe give you an extra touchdown here or there. The defense did their job. Let's go over mine. Same as you, 2-2-1. Seems to be about what I'm doing. Missed Packers Vikings over 47.5. Who knew the Vikings had the best defense in football? Who would have guessed? Aaron Rodgers looked atrocious out there. The Packers as a whole. I won my $40 bet. Kentucky getting 6 in the swamp. They won that game by 10 outright. Loved Kentucky in that game. I thought Florida was way overrated. So I love that one. I pushed Pittsburgh getting 7 against Tennessee at home. Pittsburgh threw that game away, man. Went to overtime. They really threw that game away. They had that game locked up, kind of floundered, and then 2 terrible plays in overtime let that game slip. But it was a push. I hit my underdog. We have more underdog hits than we have lock hits. The Chicago Bears, it was a gosh dang monsoon in Chicago. It was hilarious. I mean, they replaced the grass.
I was in Chicago, and I can attest it was a absolute shit show there. They were squeegeeing the field beforehand. Like, it was a big storm that came in, so I can't imagine playing in those kind of conditions. They were, like I said, squeegeeing the field and slopping all over the place at the end of the game. When Justin Fields won, he did a tarp slide that wasn't on the tarp, was just on the field, slid about 50 yards. So it was a crazy storm. So
I think the best part
that would have been a good game to pick the under, but I didn't realize it was gonna be such a crazy, with two with two quarterbacks that you don't really know what you're gonna get each way, and then the storm coming in would have been a good under game, but
They
That was a
scored
good hit
some
on the
points,
Bears.
though. 29. It wasn't as under as you would think it is. But the best part was the Bears, they replaced all the grass 2 days before the game on top of it. I'm sure that was super stable to run on. And the Bears won in Bears fashion. Two completely broken plays, just bullshit, throw it up, and a guy's wide open for a 40-yard, 50-yard touchdown. And then, they sucked. And then my lock let down. Bama did not cover 17, but they did win the football game. The excuses from the Longhorns, aplenty, I'm sure, with bad officiating, and they injured our quarterback on purpose once again. But yeah, Bama did win the game at least. Bryce Young, very good at football.
I mean, Texas has, I think, some legit excuses. You can't just say they just are complaining about it. I mean, they definitely, that little roughing the passer in the end zone.
I hated that call. That was a 50-50 call. No, they overturned that though.
They overturned it, but you would imagine that would be a safety, not an incomplete pass. I mean, they kind of got gypped on that one. I mean, I think it was actually a complete pass, but it just kind of sucks that he lays on the guy and just throws the ball away and gets an incomplete pass. Kind of sucks. That's 2 points, and that's a swing of the game, as well as that 3 points at the end of the first half. That the chip shot should have got 3 more points. So I mean,
college hash marks. Am I right though? College hash marks and kicking,
as well as they should have probably tackled Bryce Young before he made that big 20-yard run to get into his territory. So
yeah, Texas has nobody to blame but themselves. I think they had 5 red zone opportunities and got no touchdowns, or 1 touchdown and 5 red zone opportunities. Yeah. Can't beat Alabama like that. You got to get 7s, not 3s. Especially
I was definitely impressed by their defense though. So I think they can keep that up. They got an interesting matchup this week, but I think
we're going to talk about that.
I think we might both have those something in that game. So
I like that. But let's start it off. What do you got for us? $20. What's your first bet this week?
So $20 here. I got first bet's going to be Cal and Notre Dame.
I like this game.
Cal not looking great. They only put up 20 against UNLV. 34 against UC Davis. I mean, let's pick it up a little bit, Cal. Notre Dame. Marcus Freeman 0-3 in his first three starts. Horrible loss last week against Marshall. Only put up 21 in that one. But they're back at home. They only put up 10 against Ohio State as well. So I mean, 31 points in the first 2 games. Not really great for a team that should be highly ranked and highly regarded. But I don't have a spread in this one. It's kind of my pick of the week that shouldn't make any sense, but whatever. I'm taking the over 40.5. It seems a little low. I think Notre Dame can put up some points here. They'll probably bounce back after a just terrible loss against Marshall. Hopefully, Cal puts up a decent amount too. The spread's -11 for Notre Dame, so it's looking at like 27-14 kind of game, roughly. I think that can probably get it done. 40.5. It's also the $20 bet, so I'm not super confident in it, but I think they can get it done.
They're hitting.
Yeah, exactly. Notre Dame's back at home, so maybe they can spark a little energy and get the over. 40.5 isn't that many points in the college football, unless you're in the Big Ten. That's a lot of points, but we're not playing Big Ten football here. We're playing independent ball, or
not even
football. So yeah, 40.5. I think they can get it done. So yeah, Cal Notre Dame over 40.5 for $20.
All right, I like that. So we hinted at this. I just looked at this line. It's gone up. I even like this line even better now. So we're gonna stay in Austin. We're gonna head back to Austin. The Horns have the Roadrunners coming into town. Let's get rowdy here, UTSA. Yes, the UTSA Roadrunners. Interesting game. This is not a game kind of like in the vein of an Appalachian State, a team you necessarily want to play. The Roadrunners obviously lost 1 game last season, I think. They went 11-1 or 12-1. Were ranked. They're 1-1 on this season. They lost. They lost to ranked Houston at home in a really good game, triple overtime. This is a good little squad here. Like we said, Texas just went to war with Alabama. They played their hearts out. A lot of injuries, and they lost a heartbreaker. I think Texas comes out a little flat this week. They got a backup quarterback in. They got backup wide receivers playing. They're pretty banged up. UTSA is getting 12.5 points here. I think this is a big number here. The Roadrunners are a really tough team. They play good defense. They play good offense. Texas is going to win this game, but I think it's just a little bit of a flat letdown here for the Longhorns. And 12.5 points I really like. I think this is probably a sweated out game for Texas. And they're like, what the hell? We just went the distance with number 1 Alabama, and then you come out and kind of look like crap against a team you wouldn't expect that is that good. UTSA is on the up and up. I expect them to be, the best team in Conference USA this season. They're a really good squad. They could be a team that, with this expanded playoff coming in a few years, that finds themselves as one of those conference winners that gets into these games. They're a really good program. I like what they do a lot. So I'm liking UTSA here getting 12.5. I had it 11.5. It went up to 12.5. So it might even keep going up. If people want to bet Texas, let them. The only benefit Texas has here is the game is at 7 o'clock. So it's not that 11 a.m. If it was 11 a.m., I would look at UTSA for an upset here. Those early kicks really catch people off guard, especially if you coming off a tough loss last weekend. But so 7 o'clock, you can get in your game flow with that. But I like the Roadrunners to make this a game. So I'm going to take UTSA for 20 here, getting 12.5.
With Hudson Card being hurt with his sprained ankle, they might have that third string quarterback come in eventually if he gets banged up in the first couple quarters. And I'm looking at like a 35-24 type of game maybe. It's kind of what the spread and the total looking like. But we'll get back to that game here in a little bit. I'll have that a little later as well. For my $40 bet. One of the games we were watching in the bar with my crew member Kevin. Shout out to Kevin. He'll probably be listening later. He's a big USC Trojan guy. I actually have this bet as well. Fresno State USC. He'll be at the game. USC is minus 12.5. I absolutely love that bet. Maybe even a little more. Actions even showing Fresno State. A lot of people are picking Fresno over the spread and the over. Which is interesting, but 74.5 is a bunch of points. That's sort of Pac-12 football for you though. I saw USC play. They can hit home runs. They have all those transfers that came in with Caleb and Dye and Addison. They're prolific. They will score a bunch of points if their defense can even stop Fresno State. 4 or 5 times, a field goal here and there. They scored 28 points. I think USC can put up 50 easily. They're that type of that type of quick strike offense with Lincoln Riley. So 12.5. That's 2 touchdowns. I think they can cover 2 touchdowns. The 74.5 kind of scares me a little bit. It could be a super high scoring, just back and forth, score after score. But I do think the Trojans can cover that 2 touchdown spread. Or it's under 2 touchdown spread, 12.5. And they're at home. Is it a night game? What we got? Yeah, night game too. Always. 7:30 game. I'll be watching. It's going to be I think it'll be an exciting game, and I think they can cover that 12.5. So I'll take USC minus 12.5 for 40.
All right. Let's stick with this game. I like this game a lot too. That 12.5 kind of scared me though. I like USC's offense a lot. Lincoln Riley clearly knows what he's doing. Caleb Williams, really solid quarterback. Lot of shades of one of those early Oklahoma teams over there with Kyler Murray and stuff like that. Very similar looking team. I don't know. Fresno just kind of scares me. They're kind of a scrappy team. I know it's a big number here. I like the over in this game. Like you said, I think we get into a track meet here. Lincoln Riley's not known for having defenses on his football teams. Fresno State does a really good job moving the ball. I think they were top 30 in offense for Division I teams when I looked at this. So Fresno State, they're 9th in passing. So 28th in yards per play, 9th in passing. It's going to be a track meet. I could see this game easily getting to the 40s here. Maybe USC gets a turnover or two, like you said, 52-35, something like that. We're in good shape. Hitting the over there. So I like this game. I like the Trojans in this game. 12.5 is a little scary for me just because it's been a lot of upsets in college football, and who's the next one to fall, I'm hesitant on. But I really like this USC team a lot, especially offensively. So I am going to take the bite. I'm going to Get the over. 74.5 is a big number, but that's my $40 bet as well. So we can root for the Trojans this weekend.
Yeah, we got some similar games here, so it could be fun. Yeah, like you said, track meet's going to come up. Hopefully, USC can get a few stops for us, and they can just score a will with all their weapons they have, and we both win. Who knows?
Wow.
Yeah, for our $60 bet here, typically I've been picking that pick the opposite of the of the obvious pick of the week on my $60 bet. I'm gonna continue that this week. We have the Oklahoma Sooners going to Nebraska.
Mm-hmm.
I think everything is pointing at Oklahoma to just rout Nebraska. There's a few lines on action that's actually showing they like Nebraska. OU's 57% with spread. I mean, if you've watched Nebraska, they just aren't not really doing what they should be doing here. They lost to Georgia Southern, then lost to Northwestern in that week 0 opener. Not a good look for Nebraska, but they have a few things going for them. They just canned their head coach Scott Frost. Be at home. They have a decent quarterback that came from Texas. We all know. I've talked about him last year, Casey Thompson. I think like 28 or 29 total touchdowns last year. So he's not incapable. In Oklahoma, they've been playing well. Dylan Gabriel is a baller. They're putting up points, but I think everything is pointing towards Oklahoma minus 11. I'm going to take Nebraska plus 11. They're at home. No Scott Frost. They can score some points. You can make 66.5, so it's probably looking at like if I can do math in my head right here, like a 38-28 kind of game. I think that seems sort of right. I think they can both put up points, but I think Nebraska can keep it sort of within 10 points. So I'm taking Nebraska plus 11. It makes no sense to really anybody to take Nebraska at all right now. They are a dumpster fire. They have no idea how to play football in Lincoln right now. But yeah, we're gonna pick them.
Scott, this is 2 weeks in a row. You've had a $60 bet here. I've looked at this lines. I said this looks real juicy here. But I think you're onto something here. I smell another rat again. If you know anything about Nebraska football, there's one thing. They only play one-score games. And if you don't know football,
That's
11
the other thing, yeah,
is more than one score. This game is going to be a one-score game. It's the rule with Nebraska. I'm not touching this with a 10-foot pole. If you're going to bet it, bet Nebraska. I think that's a fun bet. They fired Scott Frost. They play one-score games. They've looked terrible. Oklahoma probably is going to way overlook them. It is a rivalry game for everybody over the age of 60. When Oklahoma used to play Nebraska, they remember those things. Obviously not of recent years. So I like this a lot. It's a very ratty game like the BYU Baylor game last week. So going against the grain, I like it a good bit. Speaking of terrible teams that can't beat anybody, our Texas A&M Aggies lost to Appalachian State at home with a blistering 14 points. And now they got number 13 Miami rolling into town. Yeah, Miami's getting 6.5 points here. I'm hammering Miami here at 6.5. We don't know what the quarterback situation is going to look like in College Station at all. The over-under for this game is 44.5 points. So they already expect it to be a game in the 20s. I just don't know how A&M is going to be able to score enough points to beat them by more than a touch. I just don't know how they do it. A&M's defense is still solid, but there are some problems there. Miami did just lose their number one receiver for the season, it looks like. So they're going to have to work some things around, but they have a top quarterback. They'll be able to move the football enough. It's real trouble in College Station offensively. Unless they play Max Johnson. If Haynes King plays, this is a lock that Miami is covering this line. Miami's winning that game if Haynes King plays this game. The only shot A&M has is if Max Johnson starting at quarterback. They can't get the run game going. It's anemic on offense. They're just not going to be able to score enough points to cover this line. They might win the football game in a defensive game of their life. But unless some things really change fast here, I don't see them being competitive in this game at all. I really like what Miami's doing down there. Mario Cristobal is going to make it really uncomfortable for a good defense, and the offense just is so lacking. You can't rely on special teams to score a touchdown every week to be any sort of offense for you. So I like the Canes this week, getting 6.5. I like them to win this game. I'd be shocked if A&M actually pulls this game out.
Yeah, I mean, here's the deal with this. First off, we both went there. You know, I have my rule of not picking, against my own team ever. Really the only team I root for of really all the teams. If we're talking about basketball, maybe the Utah Jazz and Rangers, Astros, but I'll never pick against A&M. I'm gonna watch the game and see what happens, but I don't know. I don't know why you pick against your team. You're wearing the hat right now.
Good. Because if they win, who cares? Then I'll be happy if they win. But I don't see it offensively.
I think it's just a conflict of interest, picking. I mean, obviously we're not putting real money on really some of these games, but
I would.
I don't know why you
I'd bet
pick
against
against
them.
your own. Yeah, that's a good thing to it's good for a fan to do, but bet against your own team. I mean, I understand that they had a bad week last week. They've also had a whole week of practice, and I guarantee you, they're not just moseying through practice this week. They're figuring shit out, and if Haynes King can't figure out in practice, he's probably not going to play in the game. They're going to give him a quarter maybe if they start him. If he sucks, he's gone. If he doesn't, if he's not gone, then I don't know what Jimbo's thinking. They need a big change. They scored one touchdown last week against I can't even
Appalachian State, who gave up 63.
I don't even know what conference they're in.
Their conference, the Sun Belt. They're in the Sun Belt. Sun Belt dominated last week.
A Sun Belt team put they limited us to one touchdown on offense
after they gave up 60 in North Carolina. After they gave up 60.
It's not like they're just moseying through practice and not figuring stuff out. They know who's coming in. I think that's why the line's kind of closer, and that's why they're favored in the game. A&M doesn't score that many points anyway. They usually don't have more than 40, 50 in any spread that they're ever in. So I don't know. I would never bet on this game. I'm not going to bet a total on this game. I'm just going to watch it. I don't know why you would do that either, bet against your own team, but I guess it is what it is. I think this might also be a rat. I think this also might be sort of a rat line. I think A&M might actually win the game. So
that's fine. I'm getting 6.5. Win by 3. Congratulations.
I just hope the jokes that they have at Midnight Yell are a little better this week.
Christ.
If they're gonna win this game, that I'd watch some of that. That was so cringy. I mean, come on, guys. Let's.
We used to be a school, Scott. We used to be a good school. Now we're a disaster. But all right, enough
embarrassment. But anyway, I don't know. I would never pick against them. But anyway,
let's go to the dogs.
We'll move on here. So our
Give
dog
me a
pick,
dog. Give me a dog this week.
I was looking at some of these lines here. I didn't see many of them, but I did see one that really stuck out here. A team that most people haven't been picking for anything in the last 30 years. I feel like the Kansas Jayhawks. They put up all kinds of points in the last 2 weeks. Like 55 and 56. I know they didn't really play anybody in the first week. They played Tarleton. 56 points, but they put up 55 on the road in Morgantown against West Virginia. I don't know who the head coach is over there, but it's not Les Miles anymore. They've figured something out. They may have got some recruits over there.
They beat Texas last year.
Yeah, they beat Texas last year also. They're playing at Houston. Houston currently is -9. The money line is plus 240, which is just shocking. You just don't see Kansas under a double digit spread in any football game, especially against a team that was ranked a lot last year. I think the whole season last year.
They're still ranked this year.
Are they still ranked?
I think so. Did they lose last week?
Well, they lost to Texas Tech last week.
Oh, that's right.
An overtime game, so they're not ranked anymore. But they were ranked last week. 9 points, less than 2 scores. I mean, if I was in a state I could gamble on a little bit, I'd probably sprinkle a little on Kansas just to see what happens. They're scoring all kinds of points. I think if they can stop Houston whatsoever, they can have a good chance of winning. I mean, Houston didn't look great against Texas Tech. Texas Tech looked shit too. I saw some of their drives. Sorry, Chuck. Some of their drives last week were absolutely abysmal. One guy dropped just a touchdown right in the end zone, just hand straight down. Texas Tech's not very good. They beat Houston, so I think Kansas come in to Houston and beat them up plus 240. I think that's worth the gamble.
All right, I like it. Hashtag KU football, not B-ball. We got hashtag KU football, rock chalk. I'm gonna go over to the NFL here. Home dog. There were a lot of home dogs last week. We talked about it, and the home dogs did pretty well. For everybody last week. This was a team that lost. I don't have a good feeling about this. A lot of ugly lines. Atlanta at the Rams. The Rams look terrible here. So everyone's saying the line's 10. The Rams minus 10. They're gonna cover. They're gonna come out. They're looking good. They're gonna fix things. Atlanta dominated the Saints, but in typical Falcons fashion, they fell apart the last 7 minutes of the game. Blew a 17-point lead or whatever. Still had a shot at the end of the game. My man Koo got his kick blocked from 64, but he definitely could have made it if it, got through. Could have went in. I know Koo's got a big leg there. I think the Falcons are a good team. I like what they're doing there with Arthur Smith. I'm surprised. Marcus Mariota is healthy, so that's rule number one. He can play when he's healthy, kind of. Cordell Patterson over 100 yards, first 100-yard rusher against the Saints in over 20 games. So they can run the football. They still, Kyle Pitts is a little banged up here. If you're going to take a flyer, I'm not sure about the Rams here. I think the Rams might have been drinking a little too much champagne in the offseason, having a little too much fun. It was a long week for them, so maybe they figured some things out. But if you really, really want to go deep upset, it's plus a shit ton here. I think the Falcons are plus 400 or something like that on this one. Yeah, plus 410 here. So if you really want to go on a deep one, I think this is a deep cut. I'm not sold on the Rams. I don't know what's going on there. I wouldn't touch the Rams if I'm anybody right now. So maybe another upset.
I mean, they played a pretty good team in week one, so I don't know. We can say they look like crap, but who knows about Matt Stafford's health? Who knows?
Passing game looked bad. Apparently, he doesn't like his
not good.
Non-wide receivers. He is not a fan of. Apparently, Matt Stafford.
It looked like he was laboring a little bit on that shoulder. So I don't know. Hopefully, he gets a little better this week. They're playing the Falcons, so who knows? I think the Falcons could easily upset them. Is the Falcons at home?
No, they're in Atlanta, or they're in LA. But the Falcons will probably be winning this game with about 15 minutes to go, and they'll lose it. But just the Falcons.
I mean, like you said, like plus 410, I think is worth sprinkling a little bit on. So
it's a big number for professional. What's your rule? Professional. Everyone gets paid to play football. It's a big upset here. But
it is a men's league. It is a men's league. They all get paid.
All right, Scott, for our anti-lock of the week, I don't know. Oh, yeah! Let's go, baby! Let's go! I don't know what we're going to call this segment at this rate. Maybe bet against or whatever we pick, and it is a lock.
The unlocked pick of the week. Yeah. So far for all of us, 0-4. Not looking great. Like I said, I think we're like 75% last year. Looking great so far, but I think we got a good pick for you here. We're going back to that Texas game and UTSA. Like I said, the spread's 12.5. Over under 61. As we know, Hudson Card's hurt. They might have to bring in their third string quarterback. I think Charles Wright might be his name. From Austin High, 3-star from Austin High. He looked decent in some of the highlights I saw, but I don't know. It was at Austin High, so who knows? But they played Alabama last week. They were swarming all over the field. Hopefully, they're still pumped up and think they can play. They're the one team in the last 20 years that have went up in their rankings after a loss. It's kind of crazy.
Went from unranked to ranked.
Exactly. They went to 21 even, and jumped us. So I think they can play some ball. Obviously got Bijan. and I think their defense will swarm UTSA. Both teams have put up a lot of points besides the Bama game. UTSA put up 41 last week against Army. Houston put up 30. I mean, they put up 35 against Houston, and then obviously 19, and then 52 against UL Monroe. So they're putting up points. I do think that the defense of Texas and the pace of play with Hudson Card, I think it's going to slow down quite a bit. 61 is the total. I guess I was looking at like a 38-28 kind of game. I don't think that's gonna be. That's too many points for me. 61 points is too much. I think it'll be in the 35, 21 kind of game maybe. I'm taking the under 61 for my lock of the week. Hopefully we can get a win. Please, gambling gods, help us out a little bit, and help us out down here in Austin, and have a little bit of a defensive struggle with the Roadrunners and Longhorns. So that's my lock.
Like you said, it's going to be a heavy dose of the mustard. Bijan in the backfield for Texas. He's going to get a lot of touches. He's also hasn't been really going the first 2 weeks, it feels like. Kind of underwhelming for a guy who's touted as the number one back in the nation. But the NFL guys still loving him, what he's doing.
Worthy is also a great wide receiver. He hasn't really been talked about too much, but
he's fast.
He's pretty good.
He's fast.
Yeah, he's very, very fast. He was burning those
Alabama
DBs.
They made a couple adjustments on there. But the only thing that's going to kill you in this game is if Bijan busts an 80-yarder, which he absolutely could do, some big runs. But I think you said it's going to be a quick, short game. That's why we got to get home for lunch. So I like this a lot. An under feels right. I don't see Texas even risking, especially if UTSA comes to play, which I expect them to. Texas even risking a loss, making a mistake, going downfield, trying to hit home runs. Just pound the rock. You'll be able to move them around. You could pick up 4 or 5 yards a pop all game. Keep it short and simple. So I really like actually an under in this game as well. I'm going to swing on over to Monday Night Football for everybody. We're going to get a little exciting here. We got Monday Night Doubleheader Week 2 now. We got my Vikings playing at the Eagles. That's going to be a great game right there. 2 top teams from Week 1. Not touching that game. Watching that game. Stressing about that game. The other game is Tennessee at Buffalo. Buffalo here coming off a trouncing of the defending Super Bowl champion Los Angeles Rams in their house. They're now heading back to Buffalo, Orchard Park with the Bills Mafia. Haven't been there since the 40 to whatever beating of the Patriots last year in the playoffs. The fans are going to be well lubricated. It's Monday night. I'm hearing schools are getting half days to come in and the kids can drink. It's Buffalo, man. Who the hell knows what's going on there? They're getting half days. And they got the lowly Tennessee Titans coming into town. Tennessee lost at home to the Giants. And it's all thanks to Saquon Barkley. I mean, this man ran all over them. They got gashed. And Buffalo's honestly weak part of their offense is their run game. And they were trying to get that better. They looked good against the Rams. They're going to work on that a lot this week. We already know what Josh Allen in the passing game is going to do. That's a done deal. That's going to score. I think they're going to get a little bit of pounding here, start gashing Tennessee. Also, we know what Ryan Tannehill is. He's very limited. This Tennessee offense relies on running the football. They're going to have to run with Derrick Henry to move any sort of offense. Buffalo Bills' defensive front is fantastic. Number 1 ranked rushing defense after Week 1. I know it's Week 1. But still, this is a Buffalo team that feels like miles and miles head and shoulders above this Tennessee team. It's 9.5 now at home in Buffalo Monday night. I love the Bills here. It's a big number in the NFL. I liked, there was a couple of NFL games I was tinkering with here. I liked, Ravens Dolphins was an interesting game. Obviously Bengals Cowboys, with Dak going down, but I think the Bills are the real deal. They're frightening. I think Tennessee's on the downhill slope. I think this could be a really disappointing year for Titans fans. They're not going to be able to run the football. Tannehill's going to have to throw. The Bills are going to score points in bunches. They're going to be able to run the football, which they aren't normally able to do. So I think Buffalo wins this game 3 scores maybe. So I'm taking 9.5. I'm going to circle the wagons with Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills as my lock of the week.
I'll say, I mean, it's never a bad thing to back Josh Allen and the gang down up there in Buffalo. I don't know, Derrick Henry could bust some loose, who knows? But I think I'm pretty comfortable with. I mean, 9 is a lot of points, but 9.5 is a lot of points. But NFL, that's pretty big. But I think they can get it done. Monday Night Football is always, I feel like, a pretty close matchup. So hopefully that doesn't
It'll be the
continue.
second game. There's
Because they
two
get it.
games though. One could be a blow.
I mean,
One would be a blowout.
also Buffalo has what? They have 3 extra days on Tennessee.
Yeah,
So
they played on Thursday.
they
So
they got a few more days to rest up and prepare. So I mean, they could come out and just tear them up if they wanted to. I'm sure they watched plenty of film on the Tennessee game when they played last week. So I guess we'll see what happens. Also, I just wanted to notate here. I have 4 kind of honorable mentions I was kind of looking at here. I just wanted to put them on here. That's not
we're putting him
no
on
real
record.
money,
I
but
like it. He's on the get it on record. People like it.
I like a lot of unders. I'm a big under guy this week.
We're on
Colorado,
brand.
Minnesota. Colorado under Minnesota, under 46.5. Big Ten football. Colorado hasn't been doing too well. I think they can keep that pretty minimal. South Florida plus 25 at Florida. Florida, I don't think is good are as good as they look like. Especially against Utah, they look okay, but last week not so good. They're back at home. That's 3 touchdowns and a field goal. It's a lot of points, so I'm taking the points with South Florida. Then NFL, I have a couple NFL picks. I haven't been picking any of these because I'm just so bad at the NFL. I don't even really bother usually. Dallas, Cincinnati under 42. I don't know. I don't think Dallas is going to score too many points with Cooper Rush back there. I mean, Dak didn't even look good with his own receivers when he was in the game, so I can't imagine Cooper Rush doing much more. They might score 6 or 7, maybe 10. And even Cincinnati didn't look that great last week, even in their tie. So
No, they lost.
it was
lost.
almost tie. It should have been a tie.
They should have won.
Each had about 5. Okay, yeah.
They're long
If their long snapper doesn't go down, then yeah, they probably should win. But almost tie, I guess. And then Houston, Denver under 45. For some reason, I don't know why Russell Wilson doesn't have the authority to call a timeout or do anything, or I don't quite understand why. First off, with Nathaniel Hackett's the head coach and he's the offensive coordinator calling plays. So if you're in that situation they were in Monday night, first off, you have to figure out what you're going to do. And secondly, you got to figure out what play you're going to call within 40 seconds. So he had no idea what to do, especially he didn't expect Javonte to get those 7-8 yards to get into field goal range, what they want to call field goal range. So I don't think I don't know why Russ doesn't have that authority. His offense didn't look good. Davis Mills, our boy.
Giraffe man.
Not great. Not great. Also one of those tie games, only putting up 20. So I think that's an under game too, 45. I guess we'll see what happens. Those are just the honorable mentions I wanted to throw out there, and I didn't pick those. But yeah, so I want to throw a couple NFL games out there.
I like that. Why don't you run down your actual picks this week for everybody before we close this
sorry,
thing
I was kind of rambling a little bit. So first $20 bet, Notre Dame Cal over 40.5. Let's see, USC for the $40 bet, USC minus 12.5 at versus Fresno. They're at home in Pasadena. $60 bet, the pick the opposite of the obvious pick of the week, Nebraska plus 11 at home against Oklahoma for 60. Upset of the week. Hopefully our Kansas Jayhawks can pull one off against Houston at Houston plus 240, and then lock of the week. Both have this game in some sort of way. UTSA Texas under 61 for our lock, $100. So I feel pretty confident. I mean, you can feel confident, but who knows what's gonna happen.
I don't think I said this earlier. I have no reads on any of these games, looking at all these spreads. So naturally, I'll probably go 5-0 this week. My confidence scale is very low this week. I'll lower them, but I'll run them down for everybody. $20 bet, UTSA getting 12.5 at the Horns. I got the Roadrunners there. $40 bet, I like the over in USC Fresno over 74.5. Trojans offense turns it into a track meet. $60 bet, I have the Hurricanes getting 6.5 at our Aggies. there, Texas A&M cannot score points on offense. Underdog upset Atlanta Falcons plus 410 at the Rams. Why the hell not? And then my lock of the week, circling the wagons on Monday night with Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills. I'm swallowing the 9.5 against the Tennessee Titans. So yeah, I don't know. 5-0. I'm feeling it. 5-0. I had no feel. That's naturally how
We're
this
due.
thing.
We're due. I think one of us is gonna do well at least. So
Let's go
we're due
10
for a good week.
10-0 is the dream.
Yeah, on the week that I don't have any real action on any of these games, I'll probably go 5-0. So that's just how it works usually.
I don't think we've had any 10-0 weeks yet. In the show, we've been close. We've had a couple of 9-1s, I think, last year. Obviously not this year, but yeah, hopefully we're on the turn here. We're on the turn. We're gonna keep pounding away at it. That's why it's gambling. If it was easy, everybody would do it. So that's gonna
exactly.
do it. Oh, yeah. All right, that's gonna do it for us this week. Again, I'll put the links in below. Have all the picks up. Follow us on Action if you want to keep track of our disasters. Actually, Scott's got some good parlays in there when he's actually gambling that he's been hitting on. The last second parlays, which are always fun to bet. If you're a degenerate like us. But again, like the video, subscribe to the channel if you're not already. Share with your friends, and we'll see y'all next week.